House of Lawmaking resumed work today following an earlier postponement. So let's go to Parliament and find out how the House has been working since they resumed. The Speaker of Parliament, Speaker Bagbin, has referred the nomination of Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie as Chief Justice to the Appointments Committee for vetting and recommendation. The referral follows the submission of his name to Parliament by President John Mahama for consideration and approval in line with Article 1441 of the 1992 Constitution. The Speaker has directed the committee to expedite its work and present its report to the plenary for a final decision. So let's listen to the Speaker, and then we'll take you through some of the other key issues that have happened in Parliament in the last 4 to 5 hours since they resumed from their long break.
Right Honourable Speaker, nomination of Chief Justice. Following consultations with the Council of State, conveyed by its letter dated 14th October 2025, and in accordance with Article 144, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, I have the honor to respectfully submit for the approval of Parliament the nomination of Justice Paul Baffoe-Bonnie as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. Justice Baffoe-Bonnie has distinguished himself through unwavering integrity, sound judicial temperament, and a deep commitment to the rule of law. His long and meritorious service on the Supreme Court has been characterized by professionalism, fairness, and a passion for justice. He possesses the necessary leadership, administrative competence, and vision to advance ongoing reforms within Ghana's justice system and to further strengthen public confidence in the judiciary. Attached are the nominees' curriculum vitae and supporting documents to facilitate the vetting process. I trust that Parliament will expedite the approval process in accordance with constitutional requirements. Please accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest regard. John Dramani Mahama, signed. Honourable members, I accordingly proceed to refer the said nomination to the appropriate committee, and that is the Appointments Committee, to do the public hearing and submit a report to the House for consideration. As you know by our rules, other members of Parliament are permitted to attend the sittings of the committee, in fact, all committees. It's just that you don't have the right of vote, but you can attend to assist your colleagues. We trust that this will be done in accordance with the laws of this country. And at the end of the day, please, we'll give you ample time for us to assist His Excellency to make sure that the confidence in the arms of government are restored and enhanced.
And that is the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Alban Kingsford Sumana Bagbin. And still in Parliament, though, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie has been the acting Chief Justice since April this year, following the subsequent removal of Justice Gertrude Tokono for stated misbehavior. He is currently the most senior judge on the Supreme Court bench, having been appointed to the bench in June 2008 by former President John Agyekum Kufuor. If approved, Justice Baffoe-Bonnie will officially assume leadership of Ghana's judiciary at a crucial time following the dramatic exit of his predecessor and growing calls for institutional reform. Meanwhile, the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga is the majority leader on the NDC side, says that government has performed incredibly well in the delivery of its mandate since it assumed office in January this year, saying that there has been excellent deliveries across energy and education sectors as well as servicing of Ghana's debts. According to him, the majority of Ghanaians now believe government is in the right direction based on recent polls. He delivered a statement to welcome members of parliament from recess on Tuesday. So let's listen to Mahama Ayariga speaking to his colleagues in parliament.
On course and are on course. Notably, the big push in road infrastructure is on course. So far, so excellent. Mr. Speaker, Info Analytics did some polls released in July 1st, 2025, and they revealed that 70% of Ghanaians believe the country is on the right track. 70% of Ghanaians believe the country is on the right track. So far, so excellent. As of September 2025, Global Info Analytics Survey found 58% believed the government was doing enough to fight against corruption, and 53 said corruption had improved. So far, so excellent. A similar report of Info Analytics in 2024 revealed that 65% of Ghanaians believe that the country was heading in a wrong direction. There is a clear turnaround in how Ghanaians perceive their country and their government now. We must stay the course in this direction, and the work of this meeting of Parliament must keep the pressure on our executive arm of government to keep delivering. In this regard, I want to assure Ghanaians that the overwhelming NDC majority will not treat our counterparts in the executive with kid gloves. We will continue to demand performance and delivery of promises made in our manifesto. Bipartisanship shall be our hallmark, so we will tolerate our minuscule minority and heed sound and genuine criticism. Mr. Speaker, this is a budget meeting. We will be receiving the 2026 budget statement in due course, but the signs of a very positive development are already clear. 95% of Ghanaians in a survey conducted by professional service firm PwC in July 2025 believe the country's macroeconomic performance in the first half of the year has met or exceeded expectations. 95% of Ghanaians believe that our macroeconomic performance, our macroeconomic performance has met or exceeded expectations. Indeed, even members of the MPP cannot deny the fact that the indicators are looking very, very good. So far, so excellent. Mr. Speaker, we in the NDC are governing well. The president of Imani, Franklin Kujo, on July 5th, 2025, strongly endorsed President John Dramani Mahama's recent decision to scrap fuel allowances and allocations for all political appointees, describing it as a wonderful initiative. So many wonderful initiatives that should be codified into law to prevent future reversals. So far, so excellent. On October 10th, 2025, the IMF stated that Ghana's economy is rebounding faster than anticipated.
Well, clearly, if you to complete that statement, it says that the IMF said that Ghana's economy was rebounding faster than expected or anticipated. So those were the words of Mahama Ayariga, who is the majority leader in Parliament, and just gave his opening thoughts and welcome address, more or less, to the members of Parliament. So let's now speak to our parliamentary correspondent, Christian Yali, who has been sitting through proceedings right from the afternoon when the MPs or proceedings began. Mr. Yali, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening. Thank you, Martin.
So what's happening at the moment? We know that the Speaker took leave and the second Deputy Speaker is leading, or first Deputy Speaker, I should say, is leading proceedings. But give us a general idea what's been happening since Parliament resumed.
In fact, Martin, we've had the swearing in of the two new MPs joining the majority bench, which now has given them even a more overwhelming control of the House, giving them a total of 189 members, as against the 87 of the minority, which has lost one seat. Apart from that, indeed, the Speaker's communication of the referral of the appointment of Baffoe-Bonnie as Chief Justice to the Appointment Committee, and even the observance of a moment of silence for the helicopter crash, have been some of the issues that have come up over the period. Currently, the House has adjourned session to tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. What it means is that the proposal by the Business Committee to shift the sitting time from 2 p.m. to 10 a.m. is one that is yet to be agreed upon, because the House is yet to come to a resolution on that particular proposal. But it is one that so far has been welcomed by members on both sides, especially with concerns about their own health and as well the security of this, and even how effective their mandate would be executed during this session, which is relatively going to be shorter because of the Christmas break that is just around the corner, and also looking at the load of work that they have to do with the 2026 budget approval, as well as the estimate for the ministries, departments, as well as agencies. And so that has been the general mood today. You earlier played what transpired concerning the opening remarks by both leaders, with the majority leader largely sounding the praises of government, that across sectors, this government has done incredibly well, but the minority rather seeing it to be the other way around, especially with issues of unemployment still on the high, and also the issue of mass revocation of appointment, and that as well of the removal of the Chief Justice, which the minority leader sees to be very unfortunate. And even that one about the U.S.-Ghana deportation deal, which he wants to be brought before Parliament for ratification and proper scrutiny, which the majority leader considers as something that would likely be done.
Right. Christian, so, today's proceedings have ended. Tomorrow we continue. Do we know what date the Appointments Committee would be inviting the Chief Justice nominee to appear before them?
So that is yet to be determined. Once the Speaker has read the formal communication from the President, now referred it to them for consideration, it means that the committee would have to meet, first of all, to schedule an appropriate time to call the nominated CJ for vetting. But we know that there is that pending issue in court where we have Getche Tokono Justice appealing to the High Court to stop the nomination of Paul Baffoe-Bonnie as Chief Justice and even the vetting thereof. And so it is a bit interesting, with many already looking forward to how this is going to play out, because when the former CJ has already petitioned the court or filed a suit stopping his appointment and vetting, and now the Speaker goes ahead to refer his nomination to the Appointment Committee for action, then it gives an interesting twist to all of this story. But Parliament, as it were, and the Appointment Committee, as it were, will just go ahead to perform its function until maybe the court decides otherwise. Then we see how it unfolds.
Right. In conclusion, and maybe on a lighter note, talk to us about the newly refurbished Parliament. We saw images before the members of Parliament entered. It's looking fresh. What went on during recess? Do we know?
Exactly. During the research, we know that the Speaker, for instance, even like a week to resumption, had paid a courtesy visit to the Asantehene to condole with the family over the passing of the Queen Mother. And during that moment, and Martin, you would also know that, I mean, the former cloth that was used to adorn the interior of the chamber, history, and as we know, was actually donated by the Asantehene. And so upon that visit to him, that appeal was made that, see, that one he donated some years and decades ago, it's fading out and it's old. And so the Asantehene agreed and donated a fresh kente cloth for both sides, just behind where the Speaker usually sits. And so that has been done. And you look inside the chamber itself, you realize that all the chairs have been changed from the yellowish one to black. And you had the leaders usually using the black seats. This time around, they are using the brown seats. And so when you enter the chamber, you really see that everything, like someone would say, all new, all fresh, all new, all beautiful. And so that has been the new look inside the chamber. And actually, when you talk to some of the members, it is actually a good development for them. But some critics have raised concerns about it. There are those that, on a lighter note, ask that, for instance, the old ones, where do we send them to? What do we use them for? Those are some of the comments that when you check even the reactions to the stories, people are raising.
Are asking. Okay, Christian Yali, thank you so much for that report from Parliament. He is our parliamentary correspondent updating us on what today's proceedings were like this afternoon when the House reconvened after about a 2 to 3 months recess. Earlier, he talked about how the numbers have changed quite dramatically. The NDC majority have actually 2 extra seats in addition, increasing their number quite significantly. Let's listen to what the Speaker said. Then we'll speak to Samir Bing, generally on his thoughts and expectations ahead of, what we should be expecting before this Parliament rises again later in December. But this is what Speaker Bagbin has been saying when he swore in the 2 MPs.
I,
Mahama,
having been elected a member of Parliament, do.
Having been elected a member of Parliament, do.
In the name of the Almighty God, swear.
In the name of the Almighty God, swear.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana.
As by law established.
As by law established.
That I will uphold.
That I will uphold.
Preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
And that I will faithfully.
And that I will faithfully
and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of Parliament.
Discharge the duties of a member of Parliament.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Well, so 2 new MPs freshly minted have been added to the NDC side. Samir Obing is the Executive Director of the Parliamentary Network Africa. Samir, good evening. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
What were your expectations ahead of the resumption of Parliament today, considering the fact that the majority has actually increased and the minority decreased more or less? What were you thinking as they were getting ready to resume?
Well, I think it's a fairly regular resumption. The elections of the 2 members of Parliament to replace the members of Parliament who had passed had happened several weeks ago, and so we knew that it was just a matter of Parliament coming back to have them, sworn in. And so those processes were purely ceremonial, and we all knew that the number dynamics had changed the way they currently are. My expectations at the beginning of the sitting today was that it was going to be the usual ceremony of the first sitting day of a new meeting, where there would be speeches and welcome remarks and a few jabs here and there. And yes, those were not, I was not disappointed in those. Those were exactly what were said today in Parliament. By and large, we've seen what the business statement is also looking like by way of what Parliament is expected to look into for this week. It makes for an interesting bouquet of items. And we're hoping that the Parliament will kick off quite strongly because it has barely a couple of weeks between now and the Yuletide to go back on a recess. And there's lots of work that still needs to be done.
Right, and talking about the work that needs to be done, we know budget reading is expected. We also know that Chief Justice is going to be vetted. Again, there are key bills this government is expected to bring before the House. Do you also get the sense that the majority are actually going according to their word, that they would still do business with the minority side and not bulldoze their way through anytime some of these issues come up? The body language, the posturing, the commentary of the majority side vis-a-vis what the minority side have been saying, and your general observation, would it be politics as usual, the acrimonious bits and pieces we saw before the recess, or you are expecting something different?
The sweetness of the pudding will be in the eating, and once Parliament is back, we will look at how these things pan out. However, if we were to use the two earlier meetings of Parliament, the first meeting at the beginning of this year, the second meeting during the middle of the year, which still ran with the current numbers, not too significant difference so far as the current numbers in Parliament, if we were to use those as benchmark, then certainly we did not see too much of the majority side living to its promise of cooperation and collaboration. We saw quite a number of instances where even as citizens were not fully involved in the whole parliamentary business because a lot of things were just bulldozed through within a matter of days. There were some businesses in Parliament which were not necessarily advertised for proper citizens' participation, etc., etc. These are things that experience will show that you expect to see in a Parliament that has a particular side having a huge majority and that side being the ruling government. But these are also things we must safeguard against. Citizens' participation is a crucial part of parliamentary work. Minority having their say in the work that gets done in Parliament is a crucial part of Parliament's work. And under no circumstances must we allow a democracy whereby sheer numbers, even the participation, the conversation, the involvement that must be had by those who find themselves in the minority, those of us who are citizens of Ghana, get thrown aside simply because there are numbers to rush things through. And so we'll be observing in this third meeting, and we hope that the majority in Parliament would have learned lessons from how the levies on fuel, which was rushed through, and yet implementation had to be, halted for some time because citizens now, came back to say that no, this is not what we voted for. Would serve as lessons for the majority to know that everyone must be involved in these processes. Then having the numbers alone doesn't mean that you can be able to bulldoze your way through. Governance and parliamentary work is about the citizens, it's about the people, and they've got to be involved every step of the way.
Certainly so. Thank you, Sammy Obeng, for your time this evening.
Pleasure.
And we've been hearing the thoughts of the Executive Director of Parliamentary Network Africa, Sammy Obeng. As Parliament has just resumed, we are looking for today's day one. We are looking forward to very interesting conversations and debate and counter-debate, arguments here and there, and then some crucial bills that would also be laid before the House, and will be